You know, for as long as we've been building things, we've been obsessed with building them higher, pushing right up against the limits of what's possible. Today, we're going to take a journey up the world's tallest skyscrapers to see just how high we've managed to climb. So let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with a building we all know and love, the Empire State Building. I mean, it's an icon, right? And when it opened way back in 1931, at 443 meters, it was the absolute king of the sky. But here's the thing. When you put it next to today's giants, it almost looks kind of small.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How much taller have we really gone since then? Well, let me tell you, the answer is probably going to surprise you.
We're going to kick off our climb in the modern era, with the buildings that didn't just break the records, they absolutely shattered them. Welcome to the age of the supertalls. Our first stop is Taipei 101. This thing is 508 meters tall, and it held the title of world's tallest from 2004 all the way to 2010. It was built to really show off Taiwan's economic power, and its design is just packed with symbolism.
And this is where the engineering gets super cool. The tower is built in 8 different sections, which is a little nod to the lucky number 8 in Chinese culture. But its most famous feature? It's this giant 660-ton steel ball hanging right near the top. It's called the tuned mass damper, and it's basically a massive pendulum that swings to cancel out the force from earthquakes and typhoons. It keeps the whole building incredibly steady. Okay, next up, we're jumping over to Chicago to see the 527-meter-tall Willis Tower. Now, just a quick heads up on how we're ranking these. We're going by height to pinnacle, which means we're measuring from the ground all the way to the absolute tippy top of the structure.
This one has such a wild backstory. So the design supposedly came about when the lead engineer just bundled a bunch of cigarettes together at different heights to get a feel for the structure. And yeah, a lot of us still call it the Sears Tower. When it was officially renamed in 2009, Chicagoans were furious. Over 100,000 people signed petitions to change it back.
Our journey now takes us to China, which, let me tell you, had an absolute explosion of skyscraper construction in the early 21st century. It was like they were putting their economic growth on display for the whole world to see, with tower after tower shooting past that 500-meter mark.
And what's amazing is that each one of these giants is built specifically for its location. You've got the China Sun Tower in Beijing, which is designed to handle a magnitude 8 earthquake. Then there's the CTF Finance Center in Tianjin with this sleek, curvy shape to deal with crazy high winds. But these towers might be the last of their kind. In 2021, China actually put a cap on new buildings at 500 meters, basically ending its super tall race to focus more on safety and quality instead of just height.
Heading back to New York City, we have the One World Trade Center. Standing at 546 meters tall, this building is just as much a symbol of resilience as it is an incredible piece of architecture.
And that patriotic symbolism is literally built into its bones. Its official architectural height is exactly 1776 feet, a direct, powerful nod to the year the U.S. Declaration of Independence was signed.
All right, so let's just take a quick breath and see how far we've climbed already. We started at Taipei 101 at 508 meters, and now we're at One World Trade Center at 546. We are definitely getting up there, but trust me, the biggest jumps are still to come.
Okay, we are now crossing a major threshold. The buildings we've seen so far, they're classified as super tall, but now we're heading into the really thin air of the megatall. These are structures that go beyond 600 meters.
And our first megatall is the Abraj Al-Bayt Clock Tower in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, towering at an incredible 601 meters. It's part of this huge government project to modernize the city for millions of religious pilgrims. But its construction was pretty controversial because they had to tear down a historic 18th century Ottoman fortress to build it.
The tower's most famous feature is its clock. And oh man, this thing breaks every record. It is the largest and highest clock face in the world, lit up by 1 million LEDs. And that golden crescent at the very top, it weighs a staggering 35 metric tons. Just wild.
Climbing higher still, we get to the 632-meter Shanghai Tower. This twisting glass behemoth was supposed to be the crown jewel of Shanghai's financial district, but it had a pretty rocky start. Even after its grand opening, it took years to get tenants in there, partly because its cool circular floor plan wasn't super practical for office space.
So, we've climbed past the supertalls and the megatalls. We've seen some absolutely mind-blowing engineering. But now, it's time. It's time to meet the undisputed reigning champion of the sky.
I'm talking, of course, about the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, standing at just a mind-bending 828 meters. It is so much taller than anything else that it is literally in a class of its own. It was built as the centerpiece of the UAE's big plan to shift its economy from oil to tourism and global recognition.
And here's the crazy part. Being the world's tallest building, that's just one of 7 world records the Burj Khalifa holds. It's just total domination. So the question is, how in the world did they build something so impossibly tall?
Well, the secret is this absolutely revolutionary idea called the buttressed core. So you start with a super strong hexagonal center. Then you attach 3 wings to it, which creates this incredibly stable tripod shape. As the tower gets taller, the wings step back in a spiral. This not only looks amazing, but it also confuses the wind, so it can't build up those dangerous vibrations. It is pure genius.
For more than a decade now, the Burj Khalifa has been completely untouchable. But the race to the sky, it is far from over. Now, architects and engineers are looking way past 800 meters, and they're aiming for the next great frontier, the kilometer-high skyscraper.
The #1 contender to dethrone the Burj Khalifa is the Jeddah Tower, also in Saudi Arabia. But its journey? Well, it's been a total roller coaster. It was designed to be the world's first building to smash the 1,000-meter barrier, a huge part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan. But after a 5-year pause, work has apparently started up again, putting that dream of a kilometer-high tower right back on the table.
But hey, why stop at 1 kilometer? Saudi Arabia is apparently floating an even crazier concept for its futuristic Neom megacity, a tower that stretches 2 kilometers into the sky. Yeah, you heard me. It's nicknamed the Rise Tower, and it's a vision straight out of science fiction.
And that brings us to our final question. We've gone from 443 meters to a proposal for 2,000 meters in less than 100 years. It really makes you wonder, with human ambition and technology moving this fast, is there really any limit to how high we can go? Is the sky actually the limit anymore?